We interrupt this program again to bring you the second episode of this podcast. We're still here at the Shady Oak Summer Success Summit with another special guest who happens to go to the Summer Success Summit and Shady Oak. And she's here to talk about a specific event that we do here at Shady Oak, which kind of teaches kids how to be their own entrepreneurs and, in a way, help them get ideas running about possibly starting their own business and starting a career as an entrepreneur in the future. So this is Anne Marie, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm Kaylee. I am your lovely host in the same outfit as last episode. Moving on, Anne Marie is here, so introduce yourself and tell them some interesting things about you.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and I'm 10, and you might have seen my sister, Ireland. She runs her own business, and I kind of help her with that. At Shady Oak, we do this awesome thing called the Bazaar, which we kind of learn how to be entrepreneurs, and we kind of get to sell stuff that we like to sell, like that we create, and we get money from it. We lose money sometimes. Well, we don't exactly lose money. We kind of take money and then use it, and then to make stuff, and then sell that stuff and make all the money back, if not more money. And so it's kind of like a profit and loss kind of situation, and you can get like a lot of money from it if you're really good at it.
Yeah, me and another friend did the bazaar a couple years ago. I'm trying to think, rewind back in my life. We sold a wide variety of things, and she actually has a license. I can't remember the technical term because bringing it back to food, she sold cake pops, and her cake pops are like perfection, and they sold like crazy, and we ended up making a lot of money. We invested a lot, but we made that and then more. So it's a lot of opportunity for you, and also there's opportunity for loss too. Like you could majorly overestimate how much you're gonna sell, and so you'd have to work that out. So it's also a learning experience as well. So profit and loss is an important concept, if you will, in this bazaar. And so, but in the beginning, I heard you talking about the investments that we made, and so towards the beginning, shortly after our brainstorming phase that we do, and after our Shark Tank process, which I mentioned last episode. So also, if you haven't watched that episode, go watch it, because context. So we do the Shark Tank process, and then if you go back to the drawing board, and then you pitch it again. So after everyone's caught up about what they're going to do, then we sit down and we write investment letters. And that was also a really fun part for me because I like writing as well. I'm a big literary nerd, and it's kind of almost awkward because I don't like asking people for things. I don't know, it's just a thing that I do. And it's kind of strange to write a letter saying, "Hey, can I have money?" An investment letter is basically you write a letter to someone, whether that be your friend, your sibling, your parents, someone else, for money, so you can use that money to spend it on resources and hopefully eventually pay them back. That's the point. So, Amy, you were in a group with someone, right? And so what did you sell?
We sold paintings. Like, it was paintings, but we drew, we wrote messages on the paintings, which was very cool. We also made star things with fortune tellers. It's like a star ball, but like with fortune tellers, kind of.
Oh, I think I've seen those where it's like a
They,
bunch of fortune tellers like taped together or
yeah,
something, or not taped, but yeah. I guess I wasn't there because I graduated. Not graduated, but I didn't leave. I graduated. I guess I moved on a couple of years ago. I think it was the first year that we did the bazaar. Was like sold it at Block House, the coffee shop that's down the road from the school. It's like a couple of walls that way. They have this really big backyard, and so we would set up our tables and we would sell them. And so you guys, I'm guessing, did that at Block House. Yeah, and they sold their products. And so what was that like being out there and selling their product? Like, I know for me it was kind of crazy at first because there was like all kinds of people flocking to my table, and then there was like a big line this way, and then you had to go by and then you had to write the receipt, and I am not a very fast handwriter. So I was like, it was kind of crazy, but once you get the flow, it became easier. So it was definitely also a learning experience, kind of a reoccurring theme here. But yeah, so what was that like? Your first time?
well, my first time, it was kind of odd, but actually, I was with my sister. Um, uh, not the second time. Well, the first time I did it, but the first the I think it was the last no, yeah, the last time my sister did it, I helped her, and that was a learning experience for me, and so I kind of got the flow of it. Like I knew how everything worked, and then like you, I'm not very fast at writing, and so but the thing was, the people who I was in a group with, um, didn't necessarily want to write, and so I was kind of stuck with that. And but and were we got a lot of money, but we lost some money, and I say lost, but it kind of we gained it back, and so
So you made profit. So you profited from that experience, which nobody really likes to lose money. It's just kind of like wired in our selves. I know, gesturing to all of me. It's just not something that really sits well with us. It's like, oh, money going down the drain. Not good. But if you like make money, it's like this good feeling, right? So we all try to, even our first time, my criteria was really low. It's basically like none of our stuff blows away, the cake pops don't get stolen, and like I don't know, it doesn't rain and nothing tragically blows up. I have very low criteria for the first time that I do something, but it is kind of interesting to see when we come back as a group to see what sold and what didn't. And sometimes people had really high hopes for their um, product. And I remember one time there was a game. It wasn't a product. It was like pay X amount of money to play our game, and it didn't. It wasn't the highest selling, and everyone thought it was going to be like a major hit, but it didn't end up being very popular. And so we came back and we're like, obviously you lost money, so it's kind of like a reflection that we do afterwards that's really important as well. So, and made you made money, which is always good. We me and my friend made money, and I helped when I after I graduated. I came back and helped this past year, and the same thing happens every year. Some kids make a ton of money. Some kids make a pretty good amount of money, and some kids make like $3. And it's all up to your audience, who you're selling it to. And a full circle moment, going back to the Shark Tank experience or process, which that was part of the process, right? Because I don't know if they changed it, but
yes, it was part of the process. but um, because of COVID, it was not as huge, I guess. Because uh, the like but the year for this year, the first time I tried to do it on my own, when COVID hit, we didn't exactly get to do it, but it was still an experience. Not exactly being there, but still making it. It was kind of fun because all in all, making it is fun, but making it with your friends is even more fun because it's not only you who would lose money. It's kind of
Looking on the bright side.
yes, but it's a bad and good. It's a good for you, I guess, and bad for your friend.
Yeah. Teamwork is kind of a double edged sword, though, because there can be these people that you work really well with, and say everything goes according to plan, A plus for all of you in the group, but there will be times where you find people that you don't exactly gel with. And I remember not in the bazaar, but working with a friend on an art project, our ideas of collaboration were not the same, and we didn't have the same vision, so there was lots of like verbal fighting. Actually, it got pretty intense. But and even though like they might be your best friend and they like stick with you and they do everything with you, I know I have those friends, and they happen to be not the we don't work that well together. So that's also a good thing to find out, because you could, like Anne Marie, you said like you could work really well with these people and you could make a lot of money, or it could be a major flop. So it's also kind of a risk you have to take. Working on your own also is also a double-edged sword. Basically, business as a whole can be a bunch of mini double-edged daggers or something.
Yes, I can relate to that because one time we were doing a social study. Me and my friend were doing a social studies project. Um, and like you were saying, our ideas of collaboration were not that good, I guess, and I ended up doing all the work, and so we both got like a B minus.
Yeah.
And so, well, because it's hard for someone to do two things.
Yeah, one person doing two people's worth of work is not an easy task to pull off. And especially if it's like a virtual project or something, which I had actually never done until like February of this year, where my reading teacher in what grade am I in? 7th. Again with the mind blanking. Stop it, brain. My reading teacher's just like, okay, you're gonna record this episode of a project that you've written and you're gonna do it in groups. Go. And so we had to like reach out to things, and my group probably wasn't the best at responding to my emails that I sent out. So with virtual it is hard, but even in person you can end up doing like three people's worth of work, and it kind of shows, honestly. So you have to just pick your coworkers wisely, and you have to know who you gel with and who you don't. So all of these aspects, from asking people to money to picking your coworkers, really go into business. Is not just about, the point of this is basically it's not just about making and selling your product, even though that is a crucial part of making and selling your product is actually doing that. But it's also who you make and sell your product with, how much time and effort you spend into it, how much money you spend for it, and your planning process, if your customers will actually pick it up and buy it. All of these things, it's just so much more than honestly I would have thought, because I'm I don't have a business, which is kind of strange because I'm the host. But I do a lot of these kind of things, and when I first started, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I just put a bunch of stuff together and put a price tag on it and plop it out on a table and people pick it up. No, that is not how it goes. It sounds simple, it's not. But if you do it right, there is a method to the madness. If you do it right, if you apply all these strategies, and also a good tool would be Robert Cialdini's 6 Principles of Ethical Influence, as I mentioned, episode 1 with Ireland. Those come in really handy when trying to sell someone something, because it will basically increase the likability of someone to say yes to buying your product. So those are really helpful. And so I wouldn't have known any of this if I'd have just, well, one, if I hadn't gone to Shady Oak, because Mrs. Elder basically taught us all of this, and just if I haven't been interested in it. So definitely all of this is good. So any like advice to these like young business owners out here who are trying to start their own business that like could be your age. I mean, if you're listening, I'm writing a novel. Honestly, it's not business, but it's still like you look at a 12-year-old girl and you're like, "Oh, you're in whatever grade and you're just Joe Schmo." But you can do things before you can drive. Like it's not like you don't have to be an adult to run a business and be all schmancy. So, what kind of advice would you give to those younger people out there that want to do something like that?
Never give up, really, because people can shut the door in your face, and trust me, that's happened to me. But I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's a learning opportunity. And if someone shuts the door in your face, you tell yourself, what did I do wrong to get that door slammed in my face? And if you do that enough times, someone will open the door and buy a product or help you. And writing angel investment letters is very well good, because it feels like you're taking from people, but you're not, because it helps them get, like, it's like they never spent anything, but it also helps you get more money. And even if you're nice or like me, I don't know, but you ask for a percentage more, and then you get more money. And yes, well,
Yes, good advice from like writing investment letters. Helpful tool. You heard it from us, kids. Go and do it. So, I mean, that's all for this episode. Catch us next time for episode number 3. Um, so, signing off from the Shady Oak Summer Success Summit. Again, I am Kaylee. I also host another podcast. Yet another shameless plug, I know. As I have a podcast called the Shady Oak Alumni Podcast, kind of similar to this one, but I specifically interview former Shady Oak students about their experience at Shady Oak and what makes this school so unique. So unique. I can't talk again. So definitely go check that out. I need plays and whatnot. But yeah, so go check that out. Go check out her sister's business. Again, it's Ivy Creations. You might recognize that name from episode number 1. It's because they are related, if you haven't made that connection already. They look the same. But other than that, thanks for watching. Catch us next time for episode 3, and stay happy.